Or,
Not to add more on you, but this is the roll call.
oh,
If
that's,
you could just fill it
So
out
what
for
do I
today.
need to do?
yeah, what's new with that? Because I was paying attention, I promise, but I want you to say it again.
So really quickly with the roll call, it's just we have to mark if the person is excused or not excused. So obviously, if you guys are gonna be absent and it's, for a reason that would be excused, just you can send me an email and I'll share it with the chair. So like that, when they do roll call at the meeting, they know to mark you as excused. If not, we don't know and it's gonna be absent. And then there's also an opportunity for you guys to join online, but it's limited to twice a year, so choose wisely. But if you are doing it remote, it needs, just per the rules, you need to coordinate with me in advance to make sure that we can do it, and the secretary has to notate whether you were here in person or whether you were here remote. So I have
I'm
a little
only
key
gonna
at the
do the
bottom.
present at the moment in case
Yeah.
anyone comes.
I didn't coordinate anybody remote, so nobody should be remote.
Right, but if,
It's one-
as far as absent, I
Oh,
don't
until the
know
end.
until the end, because
Yeah.
sometimes someone
Right.
roll.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
gotcha.
And then I was secretary one time and I
Yeah.
had to do this and,
It's all coming back.
I remember like, I don't have white out.
Yeah. And I knew that,
Like, no.
oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Okay.
I know that the only difference is that I know it's,
We all
I know it's 5 absences total, right? Unexcused and excused,
Yeah.
Right.
and you're gone. That's how it is now,
Yeah, well, again,
right?
not me, the council passed new rules. And there's a lot of details as to like when you would be kicked out essentially of the committee, so I really, if you haven't looked over the rules, please some time to do so. So you understand, but yes, if you're absent 3 times back to back, no matter if it's unexcused or excused. And if it's 5 times, if you're absent 5 times, whether excused or unexcused in a rolling calendar year for the last 12 months, you're gonna be kicked out. So just please stay on top of your attendance.
Alrighty. So we're live, we're good?
Yeah.
Alright, so we can call the meeting to order, it's 5:38. We'll start with the roll. So I guess I'll just go down the list and, or do you wanna do it, Andrea? I don't have to be honest.
I'll do it just so like
Yeah, it makes more sense. Yeah, yeah, I think it makes more sense.
President Carlos Padilla, Daniel Gonzalez,
Present.
Jessica Medina, Hector Rodriguez, George Alvarez, Jose Llano,
Present.
Magali, present, Manny,
Present.
sorry, Matthew,
Present.
Judy,
Present.
Romy,
That's an excused absence from,
Okay.
she had something going on today.
trying to be, and Ralph.
Madam,
Okay, so we're just missing 2 people at the moment.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you for that. We'll move on to orders of business, deferrals, additions, deletions. I don't know if anyone has anything extra to kind of add on and throw in there. But now is the time. Give everybody a second to look at the agenda.
Can I add just, I guess, maybe it's something I'll could give us an update on?
Yeah.
Culinary.
Put it in the new business. So it's-
June, it's usually September, so.
Okay, I'll put it as like item D for new business. We'll talk about it. Culinary. Uh, Okay, awesome. Move on to public comments. I don't see anybody here. It's hiding in the corner, so we're good. We can move on to approval of minutes. So we've got a bunch of minutes here attached. Rob's here, by the way. Very good.
Okay.
Yep, acknowledge that,
Right.
Rob. Yes, cousins.
Yes, everybody heard,
I appreciate it. We'll have to do another impromptu one like we did. So right now we're on the approval of minutes. So we're just reviewing the minutes. They're all attached to this agenda packet. So there's the subcommittee minutes from 3/11. There's the regular meeting minutes from 4/22, and then the special call meeting minutes from 6/16. Those are the ones that just passed. The 6/16 minutes. Right, let it, I see. So just to update everybody real quick while we're on the minutes, the subcommittee meeting minutes and the regular meeting minutes are kind of old, so we kind of already have covered a lot of that stuff. The big thing is from the special call meeting that we had last week. Just so everybody's up to date, you can kind of see it there under new business 4. So the big point of that was to come up with the budget, right? Or item A sub point 4. So you can see what Carlos suggested that we create or make our marketing budget moving forward. So we wanted to make it 100,000 to really up our budget. Yeah. So we voted on it and it did pass. So it's something that we have to, I guess, kind of stick behind it. And I understand where he's coming from. Danny brought up a good point as well with it, that the whole point of what we're doing is to bring in new business to town, from outside of the town, right? And as a business owner that invests heavily in marketing for his own business, Danny and Carlos, they both brought up a point that what you really need is to, invest. You can't just be doing, you can have $10,000 and then expect to bring in and really move the needle. So this was this is our opportunity to kind of really, I guess, make a big impact in how we market Miami Lakes. But we'll kind of see what happens when we put that out there. We kind of came to the conclusion that if that doesn't happen and we stick kind of to the budget that we're at, the 12K, and we don't have local intel, then we'll kind of just use that to kind of keep promoting the inter Miami Lakes events and hopefully try to promote them to outside community as well. So that's kind of a plan B if we don't get that whole 100K. But if we get that, the goal is to do a whole marketing campaign and really push the businesses of Miami Lakes, use that video and really spread it across, across digital and also banners, just really make use of it. Carlos said that he's going to be working on a business plan for us so we can actually present it to the council, because obviously this is a really big ask. So it's not something that we can just kind of frivolously be like, oh, 100K, we have to really have it in order of how we're going to spend this and how it's going to work. So that's what Carlos is going to work on and put together for us. But yeah, just kind of letting everybody know so we're all on the same page. Because I see pretty much everybody's here except Carlos, so he's really the only one that he already knows pretty much everything. So that is the big update from the last meeting. The only other update is that we are going to up the budget of the boot camp up to 5K. I believe it was 2K right now, right? If I'm correct, it was 2,000 for the seminars. So we're gonna up that to 5K. And I spoke, well, I guess we'll get to this, but cool. So those are the meeting minutes.
And just for reference, if I know some of you weren't here for the budget, but I sent all of you a copy of this last week. So just you can refer to it. That's pretty much what EDC is proposing for the next fiscal year.
Cool. So if anybody wants to make a motion,
One thing I would.
Yeah.
I'll just add the dates call.
Yeah, I was gonna say this last week doesn't have a date.
No, the first one doesn't need it.
Oh,
yeah, a little hard.
2016.
Yeah. Beyond that, I'm the back page, it was a pretty level. So back on the.
yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah, I see 422.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Oh, it's on the back. Yeah, the first one isn't labeled with the date and the last one, 311 and 616. There's no date at the top, that's all I look.
Yeah, that's it.
We can just throw that there to make it a little bit easier for the future. Okay. All right, so with that little addendum, does anybody want to can we just do all 3 out? Is that good? Does anybody want to start the motion to sweeping all 3 A, B, and C minutes for approval?
What's the date of the first page? 311.
311. Yep.
311.
Yep.
2025.
I think somebody that was here for all 3 of them.
I can make a motion as chair, right? I feel like I can.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna make the motion with the addendum of adding the date to the 311 and 616 meeting minutes that we approve. The 3 A, B, and C subcommittee meeting minutes of 311, regular meeting minutes of 422, and the special call meeting minutes of 616. There a second?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you. All right, now we can move on to the budget. So budget review. Again, we talked about this to an extent last week. So not really much to go in depth on it. The big thing is that I did speak to council. So I went last week again. It was the day after the budget meeting. I spoke to them. It was after the neighborhood improvement committee gave a lengthy report. So the council's already a little bit exasperated by the time I got to them. So my request was pretty quickly approved. Like, I didn't really go into it. I just kind of asked, hey, we're doing local intel. You guys go to the ribbon cuttings, no one really mentions it. We kind of been wanting to get rid of it. I didn't really get into the point of that the town staff, somebody wanted to keep it or whatever. But Josh kind of agreed with us, and the town council up there kind of agreed that, yeah, I've never heard of that. We don't really think people use it. So goodbye. Especially when I told them that it was 10K and it was basically our entire marketing budget. That they're like, okay, yeah, for sure. So I think we're good on that. So yeah.
Question, so
Okay.
what you were presenting, based on what we discussed in last meeting is that there's $2,000 left of that budget. Because the Intel end in May 1st or June.
It's because we were gonna renew it for the next year, so we were gonna have to pay the first 2,000 because
Right.
it's this fiscal year.
Right, so that
But since it's not
2,000,
gonna happen at all,
right,
that 2,000 is just gonna stay.
stay from
Right.
June to September for us to spend.
Yes,
On
Okay.
any,
so
Yes.
here's my only
Oh.
point of clarification from you guys. Did you get into and I'll go back and listen to it, but I wanna know, did you get to mention to them that the intent of those $2,500 now that they're free is because you guys are gonna use it for something else?
I did not. That's why. All I got into was local intel, cancel it.
That's-
Yes, all right.
So not a big
So I really
deal.
want to be gone quickly.
It's part of your budget, is just understand that for this year, it does live under the local intel line. Obviously, we
Well, it's on the
got,
marketing line, right?
right, oh, that's what I wanted to check, okay, hold on, let me see.
Marcus Norton.
You're right, okay, perfect,
Marketing-
so if you use that under, okay,
Marketing,
I thought it was its own
Whatever
line.
stuff.
So no, never mind, you guys are good.
so that,
Awesome.
so
Sweet, thank you.
my question and
It's been like a back and forth. We got it.
that 2,000 or 2,500 is available to us to use
For marketing purposes.
for marketing purposes up to 9:30
Yeah.
this year.
Yes.
Okay, it's available, okay.
Yep. So now that means in total, our marketing budget is what you see here. So it's the 4,400, correct? Am I correct on this?
Yes,
Okay. 44.
no more,
22,
the 4422,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
cause the under actual that shows 7,500 something, that's where that initial local intel, the first part of the year
Yeah.
was already chosen.
Cool. And then the seminars is what Romy's got to play with for the boot camp. And then the business and networking socials is what we've got left for the business and networking. Cool, so. Awesome, so any questions on the budget? What you guys see there? I think we're in a pretty good spot. I'm gonna suggest something once we get to
Matthew,
business, yes.
again, I'm sorry to,
No, you're the numbers guy, I appreciate it, Ro.
it's a bit, we had, on last Tuesday,
Uh-huh.
we proposed a budget for next year starting in October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we have for this year's, through 9:30.
Yep, this is.
So it's not 2,500, it's 4,400, $22.
We were fighting to keep an extra, that 2,500 like to not go away,
Yeah.
is
Okay.
basically what it was.
So the 2,500 plus whatever wasn't spent is
It's
there.
equal to this,
If we
24,
go, this
22.
is the real number, the
Right.
2,500 was gonna come out of this.
And in that budget meeting, we talked about moving budget to the seminar for the boot camp.
Yeah, for the next fiscal year.
Okay, so that's from
That's
next,
for the next fiscal.
okay, not from this.
Not for this
fiscal
one. That's why, that was to keep things a little bit more.
Okay, but
simplified.
there's 2,000 that is still for that.
For that boot camp this year,
This year.
yes, because that hasn't happened yet.
That's the one here, this is the one that's.
Yeah.
Right, before
seminar.
9:30, but when's the boot camp?
It's in September.
In
In
September?
Yeah, we had it planned out.
We had a date before.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know off
Okay.
the top of my head.
So she has,
Whatever we planned. to-
we have $2,000 to work for this year's boot camp.
Yes,
Could we use some of that local intel, not,
well, we could use it to market it.
okay.
We could use it for the budget, like for social media ads and things like that. I remember last time, we had to tap into the seminar budget
Okay,
for the ads, but now we can actually just let Romy have that. And then use the marketing budget for what it's, for, for marketing. So I think we're good.
I just wanna have that.
No, and thank you for that. And now that we have that 4K, we can kind of decide what we want to do with that moving forward, so we can obviously use some of it to market the boot camp. And then I know we played around with the idea of a marketing campaign and then also the idea of doing one more within this fiscal year, Main Street Live, that we sponsored. So that was what we were playing with. So I'll let us get to that, when we get to the, well, I guess it's coming right now.
Okay.
So that's it for the budget review. I think we're good, right? Everybody's pretty understood. Awesome. Cause that was driving me nuts. I'm not the best with numbers. So now we're good. So now we go on to old business. So Main Street Live. Okay, so now this is what I was talking about. So now we know where we're at. Now we know we've got the 4K to kind of mess around with. So do we want to do that extra Main Street Live event or the marketing push for Miami Lakes? Before we kind of go into it, what I personally think, based off of our conversation last week with Carlos and what he was talking about was really moving the needle and really making things happen and needing a big budget. I don't think the 4K, even like, working with the town and doing a social media campaign, I don't really think it's gonna do too much based off what he's talking about. Me personally, I think it would be nice to do another Main Street Live in this fiscal year, like before the Cultural Affairs Committee takes it over for the next year and keeps it going. But again, that's my 2 cents. But I'll open it up to discussion, see what we want, what everybody thinks.
How about you on Main Street? What do you think?
Every time we do a Main Street Live, we do draw a crowd. I see it when I'm right in front of there, but it always works out for me, for my type of business. But it brings people. Last time they brought chairs out and they were sitting out and listening and they were there. It brings people to Main Street, families. That's what we want, and it brings them there.
Okay.
So all of them have worked, they've been great because it draws people, and that's what we want. We want people on Main Street around what used to be.
Yeah, the town center. Cool. What's up, Robert?
Right, the question is, I guess, we've always talked about us, the Economic Development Committee, promoting the event, but who's putting the event together? Because somebody has to get the band and then they have.
Well,
That was still in coordination with Cultural Affairs
Yeah.
Committee. I have a good relationship with Felicia, and I know she has a lot of different bands ready to go. So I can,
So-
I would just start
that-
working with
That's the
her.
question, are they ready to put an event, because we'll support it and
I mean,
sponsor it.
I'm gonna be honest, it would be us working closely probably with the Grams, and then it'd basically be us, at least that's what I'm assuming. Because the way that it worked before with the Cultural Affairs Committee, from my understanding, is that they just kind of pick the band,
Mhm.
and then they just basically work with the Grams to set it up and actually put the whole thing in order. Is that correct? So yeah, so what I'm assuming is that what it would be is that instead of the Grams fronting that 3,000 for the band itself and for the stage, it would basically be us providing it to the Grams per se, and then they use that for the stage and
For
for
Main
the,
Street.
yeah, for Main Street, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
at the ground.
You set up a
It's
stage,
just they own Main Street, so you
No,
know,
I
Yeah.
understand.
you guys set up a stage and all that
We paid the
pay the
vendor.
company, yeah.
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, and even if it wouldn't be through them, then I'm sure Andrew would be able to help us get direct connections to them.
I mean, Felicia communicated with everyone,
Oh,
all of the
yeah.
vendors.
Yeah, so Felicia could help me do that if
Yeah.
we need to do it through us.
Right.
I'm willing to take that on. I could do that. That's not shouldn't be a problem. If it's all in order there. But again, like I said, that's just me. If you guys think it's better to do a whole marketing thing, like kind of like what Carlos was saying, that maybe we do a little campaign push for the rest of this fiscal year, maybe get an idea of what we could do with that 100K. You know what I mean? That's also an option there too. So I reached out to Idalis and I reached out to Caricel about coming up with a proposal or something for this. They haven't given me one yet. I know they got a lot going on, but they know about it. It's on their table, so I can reach out to them again and hopefully get them to give me. I put an agency style proposal is what I said. And I said, oh, maybe you can come in here one day and, a little PowerPoint and tell us, oh, this is what we do, this is how we do it. You know what I mean? So we can still do that before we make, a final decision. I think by the next meeting, we can probably make a decision on what to do and still be okay. But I don't think we can really push it beyond that.
yeah, because we have 3 months.
Exactly. Yeah,
And so if he's saying that we needed 100,000 for the year,
exactly. Yeah,
is 4,000 gonna be a good example for that? And we want to use that as an
exactly. Yeah.
example.
That's what I'm thinking. No, just based off what he said last week of like, what you really need to make an impact. That's why I'm thinking maybe it's better just to keep it to an intra Miami Lakes thing, kind of like what we talked about last week. That's why my mind goes there. But again, like I said, we can kind of think about it. Because again, I'm a little bit conflicted myself. That's why I'm a little bit stuck on where to go.
I wanna bring this up because I don't want
Yeah.
you guys to go out with an idea and then it's not possible.
Yeah.
The only thing I kind of see you guys needing to go to council for is that, again, you guys have never. Like, the funding for economic development was never intended for you guys to put on an event, if
Gotcha.
that makes any sense. So. As staff, we would need direction from council saying, yes, although you guys are economic development, you have the go ahead to use this funding for that.
Okay, I think that's fine. 'Cause we
Yeah.
wanted to wait for after the summer anyways.
Yeah.
So this would be probably maybe like, what is that, around September-ish, maybe like, or not October.
Well, yeah, it can't be.
Or- Yeah, it would be like the month before, maybe a little bit before around the boot camp is what I'm thinking. It would be once summer's over, school's back and stuff like that, right? That's what we agreed, because I think we said the summer months were too muggy and rainy and things like that, and people are on vacation. That's why, so we have time. If I need to present it to council, say, hey. we're
So late August or September.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, if we do the Main Street Live, that's what I'm thinking.
Peak hurricane season.
Yeah, it is, but whatever.
When you mentioned that we haven't put on an event, you mean this type of event or?
This type of event, right?
But what, we would have to be that specific, because I mean, this is an event, the whole purpose is for marketing. So I don't know how, I mean, I don't know why it would have to be like a totally separate line item.
It's
Just
not,
for this event?
it's because you guys, when economic development went with the proposal for next year, that wasn't the intended use of the funding that was given us. And I need to be transparent that this is what the.
Did I go to ask that at one point though?
Let me go back,
I
and
thought
I know we've
Sorry,
talked
I
about this a lot, honestly.
It's been like a whole
so
saga,
it
that's why I was
has.
like getting
It
lost
has.
with
So
everything.
let me go
But I know
back
I've
to
gone
the
up to them once
feel like
for
you did.
something, but I know for the EDC with the cultural affairs, and then you told me, but that doesn't necessarily mean us. So I think I went back another time and I was like, for the EDC.
Yeah, I
I'm not
don't-
sure if I went back a second time.
I don't
I
either,
don't know
so
if
let
I
me
did.
go back to
But,
minutes.
but haven't we discussed this topic, like 2 or 3 times already? And even had a subcommittee with cultural affairs
Yeah,
and we.
but I get where she's coming from, because from that perspective, it was from the perspective that we're gonna use our marketing line item to market the event and push it for them.
Not
While
put the
they
event together.
not put it together,
Right.
exactly. So that's why I get where she's
Yeah,
coming
this is like
from.
a one-off exception, if you guys would be the organizers of the event.
Yeah,
And
and I
that's not
get where
something
she's
that
coming
normally
from.
falls
I
under
get it.
EDC. But let me go back to minutes, because I feel
Yeah.
like we did have.
Yeah, you're good. I get it, but I think what Jessica's saying, if I do have to present it to council, I think they would approve it, just because of that, like we say, hey, we've got this much left. We wanna use it to put one last event, market the town. We can kind of make a big bang out of it, because other than that, the only, the other option that we're kind of debating is a marketing campaign, I can explain it to them, and I think. I know a lot of the councilmen were a big fan of Main Street Live, I know Josh and Brian would go to the different Main Street Lives, I know Alex is a big fan of it. So I think it's something they wanna keep around, I know Steven too, Hertzberg. So I think it's something that we can kind of push if we need it, but,
If it involves that kind of level of approval and everything, then if there is any consensus here in wanting to use it for that, we should probably vote sooner than later, because it's gonna have a process of then you going and then setting up the event, and then it's only 3 months.
yeah, it's a good point.
So
Yeah, I would say you vote on it today.
I mean, I'll put it on the table. I would be okay with using those funds to put on an event. I don't know how, emotion. Cool. That idea.
Okay, I will,
Did you say a set amount, Sarge?
What is it, 35, or is it the?
right now there's 44.
No, that's the budget, but-
That's the budget, so I'd say,
Andrea, how
3,000
much,
is what I'd
how
say.
much was the ground spending on that event?
3,000?
yeah,
3,000?
I'd say 3,000, and the remainder would be used for marketing the boot camp. The 1,000, 1,200 we could use
Okay.
for social media campaigns.
So 3,000.
Okay,
Figures for that event.
does everybody want to second that?
I'll second.
Cool, Daniel, second that? All right, cool, so all in favor? Aye. All right,
We'll
cool.
find out about, but I'll communicate.
Please, yeah, and if I need to go to the next council
I'll
meeting,
let you know.
I'll go again too. They're gonna get 6 seat me. I'm gonna get the what I got last time. It was on. All right, I got it here.
That's right.
Yes, yes. So, okay. All right.
All righty.
Okay, I have to think about it, I just wanted to make sure.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was one of the things from the budget discussion that I didn't mention. Is that we also talked about removing from our responsibility, paying for the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So that's why the budget for the boot camp went up to that 5,000, because part of that, it's 2K, right? That we
Like you
did?
guys were gonna take that and
And
up
add it to
that,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, so
If-
that's something too.
I
That's for the
don't
next
want-
fiscal
don't
year
put it on
and
Your agenda, but I do
Yeah.
have, if you wanna add like a 7B old business for the Greater Miami Chamber, because I know you guys had a question for me last time, and I do have some info on that.
go for it. Yeah, let's open up
Because it's always written as chamber X, but it gets confusing
Yes.
with
Exactly,
family
yeah.
chamber.
Yeah,
Okay,
So-
that's why I like to make it all with the clarification.
no, 100%.
I went back to the Greater Miami Chamber, like the start of that and how that came about EDC. There was some confusion from a couple of you as to why it was coming out of EDC and not the town. So I went back to minutes and it seems like the EDC is the one that actually proposed bringing on this membership. So it was something that came from this committee. I think as the years have gone by, maybe the people that were involved and were really taking advantage of that membership, maybe are no longer part of the group, and maybe that's where that died out, and now it's just when we're paying and nobody's using it. Other than, well, I know you use
I
it,
agree.
right?
But you're using it
Yeah,
on
that's-
behalf of the town, not on behalf of this committee.
Well, and.
But the only reason the town
Obviously,
has.
No, no, of course, but
That's why we have our tax, Ralph.
Yeah.
no, but it's not, but not just this committee,
Of course.
You
for
are the town.
But to be clear, the only membership we have is through the EDC.
EDC.
So,
Okay.
if the EDC wants to give direction on how to use that, that's something that you guys can do, but
Which we
just
have.
to be very
And that-
clear.
That town should probably take it
So
over.
this was back in 2021. You guys went to council and asked for, you guys actually asked for like a higher tier membership, and
Yes.
I don't know what happened. You guys were actually given a lower, I guess council agreed to a lower tier one,
Right.
which was a trustee. Somebody mentioned that they didn't see the benefits online of the Greater Miami Chamber, but I went back and the benefits actually are listed out. The reason it doesn't match with you guys is because you guys get $1,000 discount. But
We're a municipality, like I said last time, we're a
Yeah.
municipality, we're not a.
But you guys are under the trustee membership, which is $2,020. So yeah, again, I know you guys removed it for your upcoming fiscal year request. I don't know if that's still the case. Well, that's what we're submitting, but I just wanted you guys to have the feedback as to why that came out of EDC. And it looked like whatever members were a part of it at that time, again, we're really involved and we're going to like the events and all that. So if you guys want, I'll send you a link to the Greater Miami where the memberships are listed. You guys are under the trustee and you can see all the benefits that EDC currently has right now. I do have to check when the membership expires, because I feel like if we're already kind of in the loop of next year, then you guys are,
Yeah.
but I'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this hurts too much, even if we do have to keep it, not the worst. We just don't take the most advantage of it, for being honest. Rudy does though.
Yeah. But I still think that it should be part of the town. Just like
No, I
the other
agree. I
chambers,
think Miami Lakes should be a part of
Just
it.
like the Miami Lakes Chamber,
Yeah.
which the town takes care
I agree.
of.
I just, again, I don't think that the town is gonna take this over if you guys cancel it. 'Cause
Right,
this-
correct.
This was an initiative that came from EDC.
Yeah.
When is that, next fiscal year budget discussion again with the council and all that? 'Cause
They
I
have
remember
a-
that's when
they
we
have
had
a-
that business plan ready, and
Yeah.
I know some people wanted to be there, that way we could.
I'm gonna send
support.
you guys an email as to when the committees go to present essentially that, the request, but
Thank you.
we really don't know the final number of everything in the town, including the committees, till September 25th,
Okay,
which is a few days before the start of this.
no worries.
So-
Yeah, I'm just wondering when we present, I
Yeah.
guess, because I know that what we're asking for should probably be a
I
few of us
think
there.
it's either next month or the
Support.
following, but let me get you the date and I'll send it to you guys.
What's up?
One question. If the town doesn't take up the membership, right, we don't want it in our budget, but it's more of like a money thing. You know, the town should pick that up, but if the town decides, no, we don't need it, now my question is, should we take it back? In EDC, cause, given that we benefit.
We don't have to,
Yeah.
everyone back in. So.
I just think it depends on a lot of different questions, like there's a lot of different precursor questions, like for example, do we get that 100K? You know what I mean? Because that kind of changes things up a lot too, you know what I mean? Because if we don't, then it would kind of change things up a little bit, because then it would be like, maybe we, if we don't get the 100K and our marketing budget stays 10,000 or whatever, maybe we don't want to, give an extra 2,000 away, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, or if we have that 100,000 and we can use that on marketing, maybe an extra 2,000, we can eat into that fund for the EDC, for the Greater Chamber is totally fine, you know what I mean? That's why I don't really know how to answer that right now, that's why,
No, but I wanna have it clear, because I think it's, they have it, we don't have it.
yeah,
We need it, we don't need it, it's just kind of like
Yeah,
up
it's
in
a
the
little
air
much.
as it, okay, what do we want? And if they take it, well, then, okay, they take it, and who uses it? But if they don't take it, do we still wanna have it? again, there's some other question, but it's not like, oh, we don't want it, boom, it's gone, and then, oh, no membership anymore.
Yeah,
Oh, but we need that membership. Oh, there's no budget for it. We gotta wait another year. So we do not wanna do harm to the town by rejecting, not that we wanna have that in our budget, because it should be, in our opinion, in the town's budget, but we don't want the town saying, oh, well, there's no money for that,
Yeah, then
and
get
it's
rid-
gone, and then we lose
Yeah.
that benefit that is being used. Because it's not like, well, it's like local Intel. Who uses it? Yeah, it's $10,000 wasted. So that was a good decision to get away with it because nobody benefits from it. But the Greater Miami Chamber, it's being used for the benefit of the town. It's just a matter of on whose budget does it fall.
mhm.
And he doesn't wanna see it in limbo. He
Right.
doesn't wanna see.
No,
it.
I agree. I just don't really know.
That's what I wanna make sure that it's clear. It's
No,
not like, we don't
100%.
want it and it's forgotten and boom, oh, we
And
don't
then it's
have
just
it.
gone, yeah. That's why I'm wondering if can we do like a contingent vote where it's like, can we vote that if the council votes to get rid of it, that we then keep it? That's why, but that, it just seems so wonky. That's why.
I would
It
say,
seems like some weird workaround vote.
I would say that when you guys go up to make that presentation of what your next fiscal year budget request is, you make that point. I honestly
that's how I
don't
was
see the
thinking that
town
day.
taking it over, because again, this is something that came from EDC. The point was that EDC asked for this. Nobody else is really using it.
Right.
So
And-
I wouldn't count on
And
it,
this is,
but
and this information that you're just given now, it's technically new to us
Yeah.
because nobody knew
right.
Yeah.
anything before. So
It basically exists for us to take the most advantage of. That's what it's there for. It's for us. So it's up to us if we think it's worth it. Like, are we using it? That's what I understand.
Right.
From the case of it just being the EDC,
Mhm. Okay,
what do we think? You know?
It's.
I mean, I know Rudy uses it, and
Right.
chambers are typically one member things, like one guy represents an organization.
It is a
So-
resource for a lot of businesses, especially if you export, they'll certify your invoices that it's a US made product sometimes. So there's a lot of stuff that we don't even look at. I'm like, there's a lot of retail, but it is a resource. The other thing was, they host, what is it, monthly? Meetings, lunches.
And some are here, Miami Lakes.
One of our local ones
And
to
some have been here. Chelas,
bring the rest of the town, the rest of the county here to host a meeting in
Beverly Hills.
the town.
They've had it.
So I mean, there are some benefits in there that.
Okay, you're saying we just gotta get more involved.
Yeah, like everything.
Yeah.
I think like every chamber event, right, I think we should already know.
Looking it up just for you guys to
There you
see,
go.
but these are the benefits that you could take advantage of, like this is what you guys are under.
6 business promos.
First been for a long time.
I mean, we could use that, the 6 business promos, we could use that to promote the boot camp and things like that to all the greater chamber members, that's not a bad idea. We just don't use it.
City that we
Yeah.
could. So unless you
Just
commit to
we've
doing
been
something,
meant
it makes
to-
sense.
we've been using it to.
Okay.
I mean, I'll give you my personal opinion. I like it. I don't think the greater, I'm a fan of it. When we did that vote last week, I was a little bummed. But I understood, like, I'm gonna do whatever he wants.
But we also,
But,
never- you also
yeah.
never used it.
Again, yeah, I know, I get it. But I
Yeah,
know he does. That's why I know he does.
It could be taken advantage of.
You have to, you should be taking advantage of.
exactly.
Vince, I think we've been here for, that was. Eddie Barber's not ready for this time. And it's very important.
I wanna make a point, is it,
Right?
Yeah, what's up?
that if that budget item falls in our thing, then it should be in our agenda every month, so when we work, when we meet, then we can discuss, oh, there's this activity from the chamber, because then we all know, if we don't know, like he was saying, he didn't know that we are a member. We don't know we're a member, we don't look, we're not interested, and all of a sudden the membership is
Yeah,
passing
it
by.
moves away.
and
I can put
nobody's
them under
using it.
announcements, like the upcoming greater chamber events, I can add them to the
We
town.
haven't been to all the events and all the updates.
Yeah, I'm down. Like I said, I haven't really
Here's what I think, Matthew. Here's
taken
what I think
notice of
happens,
it
man.
yet. I just really.
Yeah,
Here's what I think happens. I think what happens is that. The Greater Miami actually covers all the entire county. It's not just us. It's like the Miami Lakes Chamber. So what happens is that you have a lot of events that are not in our town. They're more centralized, they're more in the central areas.
right in downtown.
So some of us can make it, some of us cannot make it. We have agenda, we have schedules. I have a very flexible schedule, and I could attend many of the events that I have. Also, not all the events are necessarily free. Sometimes for members, instead of saying $85 for a luncheon, say, they give it to us for $50. But it is a cost. You may have some extra costs involved. Now, the networking that you do, the things that they do are very great. Now, like we said, you have to be involved. I'm part of 3 committees. One of them is government affairs, and they helped, for instance, in the blasting situation, when we had to go to different places, they represented us in Tallahassee, and they stood for us, which is big. When you have the Greater Miami Chamber, it's one of the oldest chambers in Miami. It's 120 years old. I mean, I love the Miami Chamber, and I love the route, but the Greater Miami is the chamber of chambers in Florida, and they have a huge voice. So in that sense, that's very good, and we should take advantage of that. The transportation people were here last week when we saw in the budget meeting. And they knew exactly who to talk to in the transportation committee for the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. And they were the ones that are sponsoring, and that's why when we were in the meeting of the chamber, Javier Betancourt was there. He's part of the Greater Miami Chamber's Transportation Committee. So you see, it's a lot of things that helps the small businesses, helps everybody, but especially the small businesses in town. It's very important.
Well, in that case, what you're saying also is that it's not even only this committee that benefits from it, because for example, as they're trying to pass certain things or get certain grants or even
Right.
them,
Even them.
as
Well,
their town staff,
The whole town benefits.
aside from putting it on the agenda, like you mentioned, having those as reminders to make sure that we're utilizing them is also what we need, because we can look at that quickly right now, but we'll forget.
Yeah.
So I think that always has to.
By the way, and with me, you could always ask me. They have networking events.
Just free.
They have membership. What is our membership representative? You want like new members? You want?
Oh,
You know,
but,
they don't have a plan for that. At all,
All right, cool.
at all. At all.
All right, so
I think it was more of like lack of information among
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
members, because, again, it's 2025 and it was included in 2021, and since 2021 to 2025, there's been turnover in this committee. So eventually,
I mean, how many people were in here in 2021?
might have been, but I don't even remember.
I have a roll call.
It's not
But-
even-
but-
you don't even have to do a whole.
But what you said in the
Like,
beginning,
you think it's not-
Matthew, you said something that hit it on the, many of the people that were going, they're not anymore. Steve Bremo, Eric Brandon, everybody else, other people went,
Yeah,
everyone, had.
no, I get it.
They were part of that.
I get it. That's why, I mean, it just goes back to the original debate though of like, oh, I mean, if all the town gets use of it, does that mean that we still pay for it? You know what I mean? It just goes, it goes back to a lot of different things, that's why, but I think it comes down to what I was saying, that when we have our opportunity to talk to the council, we just kind of have to explain it to them and kind of lay it all out. And if it really comes to the conclusion of they're saying, hey, we're just gonna really get rid of it, then maybe we can just make like a spot decision there as we're doing it with them,
Well,
like, that's what I'm
So
doing.
right now, the request is to remove it from the committee, but
Yeah.
We
so,
can't change that because we already submitted that.
I
So we're-
can change it. If you tell me right now, I can change.
Okay.
So that's why I guess I need that direction from you guys.
It's just tough, you don't have Romy or Carlos here, and Romy's the one with the, what's it called, the boot camp budget.
I mean, if it's,
but Romy, but not that I'm speaking for Romy, but I know on the meeting that Romy said, oh, do we have that? Oh, that's great, and then she was kind of like moving it around. But she was excited that we had that membership. That's all I'm, not speaking for her, but I think that was my impression on the meeting, if anybody else here. So that happened.
Okay,
Yeah, but yes, what he's saying is that in order to get it back, we would have to probably take those $2,000 that we gave her back in. her
yeah, that's what
book.
I'm saying, yeah, you have to take it away from Romy, or not from Romy, but,
From-
the boot camp,
So
it's that.
Then-
Necessary, right, for the
Yeah,
next-
but we already have, but
Next.
we get the 10,000 marketing from,
Exactly, yeah.
because we don't have the
Yeah,
local.
and then that
income,
wouldn't tap into
maybe-
her, so she'd still have more.
Correct. So maybe from the local intel, from the former local intel budget,
Yeah,
then we can take the 2,000 to go to the chamber, if that is, what we need to do in order to keep that membership alive.
I get it. So what I'll do is I'll open up the table if anybody wants to make a motion, right? Because what I was telling us is that she has the opportunity to amend that budget that we're sending to the council. What we decided last week. So if anybody wants to make that motion, I guess, to basically keep that line item, the Miami or the Chamber Expo line item, even though it's incorrectly labeled, but we keep that line item. And then remove that, what is it, 2,000?
20.
2020.
Yeah, we removed that 2020 from the seminars that we moved it to. If anybody wants to make that motion.
I make the motion.
Okay, so Magali's gonna make the motion.
I'll second.
I would like the.
Alright, Rudy will
I'll
second
second
it.
You already said what it was.
Yeah, so Rudy will second it.
I'll second.
So open it to discussion. And then we'll say all in favor.
So
Yeah.
that,
We'll see what people
to be
say.
clear, I'm doing the math here, it's 2980 then, that brings you to 2980 for seminars. For.
Oh, yes, yes, for next, yes.
For next year.
Sorry, yeah, I got confused.
You'll find out when the actual renewal is.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. Date wise, how about if it's in this fiscal year?
Yeah, then it wouldn't even matter. This whole conversation wouldn't even matter. If it ends up being in this fiscal year, then it doesn't
Be
even
in next
matter.
fiscal year too.
Yeah, we would have to open it up again. It'd be like local intel. We play a ring around the rosy until we finally
That
catch
money
it.
was spent.
It's not.
That money was already spent.
It's not, the budget is not calendar, that is from September to August.
Yeah, so we're
So,
yeah, so.
I
Yeah,
would.
but that may expire, that.
It might expire, I think it might expire.
I think I can figure it out.
You know, some memberships are, they have a calendar, you know, whatever the fiscal year of.
What, we have a motion on the table anyway.
Yes.
So if anybody, if this passes, this motion passes, then it wouldn't matter regardless. So there's a motion on the table and it's to, or can you repeat it again?
To amend.
For,
Go to Mary Chamber of Commerce, 2020.
yeah, to keep that 2020 and move it away from seminars. Yeah, restate it. Okay, so all in favor? Alright, cool. So that's definitely more. Alright, cool. So that's that.
I'm updating it. So
No, you're good, no worries.
So that would leave, again, that would leave that seminar line with 2,980.
it's almost $3,000 seminars.
Yep.
So what, and then when.
And she has all the marketing, or not she, we have all the marketing
Mhm,
budget available now just to use for marketing. It's not gonna tap into that seminars budget
mhm.
really at all. It shouldn't. So it's gonna still be more. It should be a sizable amount more.
So when you go make that request to council, what you guys could also do is just tell them, we would like to see if council, I guess, is open to having town pay from this from another budget. That's like our first option. If not, then we'll continue to pay for it. I think that would be the.
Yeah,
fair
so it'll-
to
yeah.
make to
And
them.
it's simpler to do it that way versus
Yes.
it's kind of like us dangling it.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, it's not,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Worst case, we're paying for.
Exactly, yeah.
If it happens.
Oh, I mean, whatever, we'll see. I don't know. Negotiate with the.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So that's old business. That was us talking about Main Street Live, which went into the budget. That was greater chamber. That was old B. Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Yes. And
you're just in it over there with the budget. You're good though.
I'll call you Rudy.
Yep, I got it. Alright, cool. So now we'll move on to new business. That was B, that was old business B. So new business A, the EDC Business Boot Camp. I know Roby's not really here right now, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna table this for the next one. Unless anybody here has any updates.
My only thing is, I wanna remind you, because you guys said you didn't know when, I have it scheduled for September, tentatively, September 26th.
And so Romy and I went to Bank United, we looked at the venue.
Yeah.
They gave us date options, getting in and out of there is gonna be complicated, and I think they cap it at like 75. So I think she was gonna bring it back to us to come to the conclusion that it's probably not a viable option for the venue
Okay.
for us. And I think Fridays was a horrible day for them to do it, so it was gonna end up, we're gonna end up having to move it to the middle of the week, which is probably not ideal for us either. But we'll get into it, but I think as of now, it's either gonna be here or Ana G. Mendez. Those are two viable options. But Bank United is.
Okay. I think off what we talked about last time, probably here's a little bit better, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Based on what we went over.
The Bank United has good facilities.
The issue is not the facilities. Getting in and out, they make you, every person that walks in there has to give them their ID. And that's gonna delay the process of people checking in and checking out. Then their arrangements, maximum 75 people, and we've had more than 75 people at other boot camps. So we limit the number of people we could have there. And then you have to give them the list in advance, so there couldn't be
Any
any
walk-ins.
walk-ins. So there's a couple of things there that would
Yeah.
hinder us from being able to use it
So,
ideally for this event.
okay. So if we're gonna do it in council chambers, I need to ask them again, right?
No,
They don't.
No?
As as long as it's available.
Oh, okay, cool. That was the first time I asked.
Exactly.
There was a new event.
Oh, once a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, no, we're good.
Put a hold.
We're good, yeah.
I'm like, put a hold
Yeah,
on it.
we're good.
So right now, I have it as TBD on my calendar, because you guys were like back and forth.
Something people.
Oh, I am holding council chamber that.
Yeah, it's the rooftop or the.
We can't. One thing though, real quick, amendment, because I noticed when I was looking at the website,
We
it said,
updated
oh, you did, perfect.
It says TBD, so
Perfect,
that's why
perfect, perfect.
are you guys ready to vote to take it to council chambers, or you wanna wait till next meeting?
I think we wait, right?
We're wrong.
Yeah, I think we wait for
Say we
Roman.
wait for
So
Roman.
it'll stay as TBD for now,
Okay,
but I am
That's-
holding it on
Yeah.
my,
and even if we have to do it like here on the next meeting, it's not really that last minute. We already know how it's set up here. I think we'll be fine. Okay. All right, cool. So I think we're good there.
But our
What's up?
meetings. We're fine.
Okay.
I have the date. Okay.
No worries, no worries. All right, cool. So B, the next business networking social with the EDC. So we've done this before, that we kind of vote preemptively. I know we didn't really choose this, but what I'm proposing here is that we jump in with the BNI and the chamber and jump in on this business networking social and sponsor that 500. It's tomorrow, yeah, that's why. So it's a little bit kind of quick on the spot. I know we wanted to do something on the west side of town. And I was talking to Ray with the chamber and Tico as well, my dad. We were working on thinking of different things we could do on the west side of town. But it was just hard to find something that was big enough, other than Cancun, which is what we've done many times before. And I know we wanted to change it up.
You spoke to Sushi Bombs, I think that was.
They were just a little too small, is what I think it was. It was like only for 60. But again, we've done it before, so maybe we just do that anyways and we keep it, you know, it's a smaller one. Because it is the summertime.
Please.
Yeah, we didn't reach out to them. And I know I also talked to Ray too about Outback, and we didn't reach out to them either. Because I know I've never spoken to the owner there. I don't even know who it is.
Outback is very corporate. you
I know, that's why, that's
So
why.
it takes, it's a long process.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. But
I think that's the manager there to make a decision.
okay.
Yeah.
But
the
in
managers
Anthony's,
should
but in
make
Anthony's,
decisions.
the
Same
guy
in
could make a decision, yeah.
we don't have it on our website, I don't think you guys have any.
Yeah, that's okay, because that's why, because we wouldn't, because it would just kind of be, we're voting on it now. That's why I kind of figured probably like a town one until today. So don't
But I
worry
think
about it.
it was included in the marketing.
Yeah, that's
So.
that's because of me. I
Yeah.
I put it on the
Put it on
flyer.
there.
So maybe we'll vote yes. Put it on the flyer.
Say that, it doesn't cost extra, you know, to put that in there, so you can put EDC. you can
Yeah,
put-
and it makes, you know, we're all working together still. We're all gonna be there. For a good chunk of us.
The west side is Latin America. Latin America.
Yeah, we worked with him a little bit. It's kind of a struggle because he is busy every day. So
Yeah.
we usually try to do it on the Tuesday or a Wednesday when they're pretty empty so we can kind
Yeah.
of fill in the place.
Yeah.
But with him, it was a struggle because he's still every day. He told us like, oh, I can have you guys outside, like in the corner. And it's like, well, I mean, because you know, his restaurant's full. So he's
Yeah, but
he doesn't need it as
networking,
much.
if there's no alcohol, then sometimes don't work.
Yeah, that's true.
And-
Whatever. Sorry to get us off track. We're talking about the future ones. So for this one today, so I'll make the motion that we, the EDC, will participate and put in the $500 for this June 25th network tomorrow at Dr. Limon. If anybody wants a second.
I'll second.
Second.
Cool. So all in favor?
Aye.
Cool. Awesome. So we'll jump in for that one. Because I know we've still got a good chunk to work with, right?
So you'll send me the invoice.
Yes.
A lot of time.
Yeah, not a lot of time. Exactly. So there's 2,000. So this would be, now we'd be at 1,500. And I know the chamber's trying to do one once a month. So that would leave us 3 months, right?
So can we vote to do it in July as well? So that we.
Well, I know one thing that we've done before, and we can do this just in case the chamber doesn't do it, is that, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but we did this once with Jonathan, maybe you finagled it, that we kind of vote in the past, where like, let's say let's say this June 25th one, let's say it happened yesterday, right? That I would say voting today,
To cover.
that we would
expense.
cover the expense, and
Yeah.
then we've done it before like that, that's
Yeah,
why,
yeah.
so. We'll do it like that, just in case July doesn't actually materialize, and then, you know, we'll vote after the fact and say, hey, for the EDC to jump in and participate, and then we can do it that way. And I'm pretty sure most of us would be willing to do it, because we do have the budget for 3 more, so. All right, cool. So we're good there. Oh, I actually wrote it there, can we vote, or better to jump in after the fact? Wow. All right, cool, so C, Best of Miami, okay, cool, so Best of Miami Lakes. Now's when this happens, June is when we said that we were gonna kick it up again, right? I know that the town is still gonna manage the voting stuff. What we were gonna do was now we have got some marketing dollars, and also we were gonna use our connections to really push it and really make it a big deal. Because last time, and I know a lot of, I'm sure some of you experienced this, because I did, people coming up to us and asking about it. Because we're on the EDC and it's labeled as an EDC thing, but then I have no clue. So I don't want that to happen. It's basically so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I shared the timeline that we were considering for this year, and I think I shared, Andrea's recommendations, because what we talked about is, you know, if you guys are gonna be involved, then I need the feedback from you guys on whether we're keeping it as is, are we removing some categories, are we adding some, do they need to be changed? Like, I need that kind of like now, because based on the timeline, with Romy of how we're gonna launch it at the boot camp and all that, we were gonna start the promo in August. So I'll go through the timeline just as a refresher. Month of August, start promo for the upcoming contest. Wednesday, August 27th, we would launch the first round. Friday, September 19th, we would close the first round. Friday, September 26th, so the day of the boot camp, announce the finalists, launch the second round.
And with the boot camp,
With the
right?
boot camp, right?
Okay.
Friday, October 17th, we close that second round, and in the week of October 20th, we announce the winners. And then we said that staff was gonna determine the best day of the week for that announcement.
Okay.
So I guess what we need to know, like a breakdown of all the categories again, so that we can decide if there's anything we wanna add, remove.
Yeah. Based off what it sounds like, we have one that we could do this in July, because you said August, the promo starts.
Yeah, we wanna
So-
start the promo in August, because
So-
we're gonna launch
I
the
know,
round
maybe
yeah,
more
end of
categories.
August.
So what I'm saying is, can we come
Yeah.
to the next meeting with those categories? Because I don't think we're gonna have time
Yeah.
to figure them
So
out
then-
today.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, because there's lawyers, accountants, marketing people.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna do for us is she's gonna get what it consists of now. She's gonna send it out to us. We're gonna take it home, and that's like our homework for the next meeting. We're gonna digest it, see what's going on there. And then we can kind of come up with some categories, and then we come back now in July, the next meeting, with what all those categories are, you know, so everybody can kind of come in with your own little list or whatever. And then we can kind of cross-check and see, you know, and say, oh, I like how this person has, it's so generic. I like how, you know, we're getting specific when it comes to restaurants, or we get specific when it comes to attorneys, whatever we think, you know?
Yeah.
So
okay,
we'll do that. We'll do that. Because I don't think we're gonna have time really to go into all the categories today and really give it the time that it deserves.
no, it's nice to have something in front of us instead of.
Exactly, yeah. Now we can actually sit down and have a month to look at it. You know, we can really think about it. All right, cool. So is that okay? Tyler?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Awesome. And then, yeah, I think that'll give us enough time. All right, cool. So now the last addendum D that or item D that was added on, the culinary bike tour.
Yeah, I
Where do
was
you wanna
just
go with that?
hoping if Isle could give an update, because I know that's something that's
Yeah.
typically
Yeah.
happens in September. And I know last year we had members of the business community come up and say, you know, it's not being promoted, we're a part of it, are we not a part of, I mean, there was just a lot of kind of the same thing in the best of emulates of the ho-hums.
And there's the bike tours now, there's no committees anymore for those, right? That's 100%.
The bike rides, the community bike rides come out of NIC, they just only had one this year.
Okay, but this one, the culinary bike tour?
The culinary one, the staff has been handling, however, and I will come back to you with more details, because I don't wanna say this incorrectly, but I have, if I remember correctly, I don't know that we had funding for that this year, so I don't know that we're
Okay.
doing it this year.
Oh, okay.
And there's that. I love that. idea.
Oh, what's the funding?
I really do.
What's the funding required? Because I mean,
I think anybody.
this opens up the
But that's what we
possibility
did
of the Main
from
Street
the-
Live thing
the
again.
committee
Maybe we do
himself.
culinary bike tour instead, that's fine, so.
We do like, I know, off the top of my head, I know we pay for like a videographer, we pay for the bike, what is it, the cycle party that comes on, like we charge people, but we don't charge people the full amount, because it is really expensive. But we think it's, you know, a nice asset to have, it adds to the event, so we cover a lot of that cost.
You don't remember more or less how much that costs?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Does the police get involved too?
Give me a second, I'm writing down a note and I will forget.
Yeah.
I think the police does that too, or whatever.
Sure. That the budget wasn't there.
That's what I wanna make sure,
Yeah.
but off the top of my head, that's what I remember being told.
Yeah, I think we
But They were so, the town was so proud of this event, I didn't understand why they wouldn't remove the.
What I'm thinking is maybe we can even do it, if it's possible to do it through the chamber or something like that, be like the chamber partners.
That's another idea.
With the town or something, I have no idea. 'Cause we already voted on the Main Street Live thing, I just realized that. To backtrack that would be a little bit of a mission. But yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
we don't know about the funding, I can't tell you about the funding right now, so I'll come back to you guys with that either next meeting, or I'll send you guys an email.
That's mainly a neighborhood improvement committee thing, right? I just don't wanna step on toes.
I think a
It
collaboration.
used to be a collaboration of committees, but honestly, they were not very on top of it, so we kind of just took it over.
I just don't wanna step on any toes and then
What's that?
people get mad at
I
us.
just remember there was a lot of
Restaurants.
Two different
businesses
restaurants.
that were participating and they felt like it wasn't being promoted enough and they felt like, you know, there was
Same thing
an
with the
opportunity.
small business or with.
Correct, that's why I wanted to
Because
bring it
that's
up
what I mean.
now,
Same
if there's an opportunity, because it is a, I mean, a function of economic development for the town of Miami
Yeah.
Lakes, if it's bringing people
What's it you eat on every?
to experience these
Yes.
restaurants.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Okay, so I'll find out for you guys.
Yeah, and if it's a matter of funding,
Oh.
see, maybe we can, like I said, we
Put in
can
one
do it
of
like
my-
a chamber or something. I know Ray would, I'm sure would love an event like that.
Oh,
This, that event, an event like that is Ray all over it, I can see it.
Sidewalks with your little whatever.
That was a good event, I remember that event. It's always a nice
You
event.
have like mini pizzas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave out, we gave
So
out,
that's,
Oh,
A
the
pizza
cost.
scene.
yeah, so that's to include.
we were like the last stop before Chivas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Chivas, yeah. By the time they got to me, everybody was full.
Right, which is good.
Malays,
For you.
Malays, what they do.
Everybody was,
That's
yeah.
true. I don't know if it's good, but I mean, I guess.
It was,
But
I only did it
you
one
get
time.
More, and then they're full.
Yeah, they were, by the time they got to
Okay,
me,
2 or
they
3
were
years.
full. And they were trying to make it over to Chelas, that's where the drinks were.
Yeah.
But it's good for Chelas, you know, it's good.
So we pay a total, last year, we paid a total of $3,250 for the 2 bikes,
For that.
only for the 2 bikes.
So two bikes representing the town.
Cause police, I believe, is covered in the rest of our
Oh, really?
contract, so we don't get charged individually for that, and then we pay for the videographer. Oh, we pay for the stand, for the,
sign there
yeah,
and
the
the
signage and the smoke. And I think that's pretty much it for that. Yeah.
So what would be the purpose of EDC? Just promote it?
Even if you raise the cost of the bike,
The bike, it is
it
expensive though,
sells out in the moment.
it does, it does.
So
Very
it doesn't really, I don't, you could raise that price and all of a sudden that, you know, cost for whoever takes it goes down. Because it sells out right away.
We did it
It does.
September 9th, night of 2023. It's $30 per person.
No, but last year it went up,
But last year went up.
So that's the thing, like,
Next year it was.
it is really expensive.
So you got Chelas.
Cause that 3250
Express, Big T Big.
covers 2 bikes, which is maybe 24 people. So we can't charge people the amount that.
No, but people pay it. Charge people pay
People like that event.
That's like $136 per person. If we were to actually, you know, have them cover the entire charge.
it. Right, but if we were charging them 40, you charge them 75. I mean, like, even if you do that, that cuts it significantly.
Yeah. I'll find out for you guys, cause I really don't know right now.
Yeah, because the cost is the food that, you know, the restaurants, do you get paid or it?
No, no.
promote?
No,
No.
it's part of like, they're sponsoring, so they get promotion out of it.
Yeah.
That's really,
But there was a time that I thought someone,
We-
if you participated,
Yeah.
got like $200 or something like that, am I right?
yeah, we did like.
That was in the very
Back to
beginning.
2-3 years ago, we were doing that.
Right, but
That's
now,
even
so
more
now
like-
food, you know, it's an exchange, you know, food for participants.
Yeah, they're sponsoring, they're part of the event.
Yeah.
Right, but they're paying kind.
Yeah, they pay.
And then when we charge individuals for participating, that's to cover the cost of.
Putting on the, whatever the, oh my god, the,
Production of it.
yeah, the
Yeah,
production.
production.
And the bike and all that. I will find out. I know.
Cool, thank you.
Because this would happen when, usually in October.
September, I think.
What time does it start?
I mean, as soon as it gets a little less hot, right, you know.
Well,
Still gotta
even
move.
2 years ago, I think it rained and like that didn't stop people.
No, we kept going.
Yeah,
Late October, if you.
What time does it start?
October's a great time for it. I
Six.
think better than
Six.
September.
yeah, we've done it in September the last 2 years.
And you wrap it up where? Like, what time? It's
Seven.
at 9?
No, later.
Yeah.
What is it? You put it, finish it up.
Start at it.
It starts at 8:15.
Okay.
Yeah, before we finish it up with a concert.
You work out your calendar.
Honestly, maybe even changing the route. I don't know what you think about that. So that the order changes, because maybe you get like better, and it's always been the same route, but you know,
It all
if it
depends.
gets to that, we talk about
Yeah, it all depends where you wanna end, you know.
Yeah.
Because if you wanna end in Chelas and that's
Usually
usually
that's
the
the
place that has the big patio.
The whole.
Yeah.
to host it, so.
So many-
Yeah, I know going to the other side is really not option because there's not a lot, and also because it gets dangerous when you're
Mhm.
taking an entire group, down the road. But I also know that we started NTC because they like to be involved and they close early, so they're kind of just even extending their hours just to kind of make it
Yeah,
be a part of the event. I know last year or the year before, we tried including like 2 restaurants from the other side. What we did is we had them here at the start line.
Yeah. Another thing is that since we start in town hall and everybody leaves their cars there, you kind of have to end
Yeah.
where everybody leaves their cars.
Yeah.
So that's why Chalas also makes sense.
Yeah.
And, we can have a Main Street night. Coordinated with this event.
Probably.
You have a concert and then there's a lot of room in front of Shella. You can, I'm not saying, to take the stage from Main Street, but, there's a big grassy knoll there in front of Shella's.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you would take it if you do it over there.
Huh?
I think you would take it
Oh,
over
yeah.
there if you do it. over
Yeah, that'll, I think he'll give up his spot for that.
there.
Draw the crowd, the crowd comes.
But yeah, so I guess at our next meeting, can we make sure it's on our agenda so that we don't,
Yeah, that's what I'm writing down. is
okay.
Next agenda stuff. That's why I was quiet for a while. Right, cool. So we're good on the calendar back to it.
Yeah, I'll
I think
get
we'll
you
all
guys
understand
on.
where we are next week or next month. We'll talk about the finances and see what it's at, where it's at, and if we need to jump in. All right, cool. So I'll move on to announcements. So June 26th is a ribbon cutting. Resilience Orthopedics. I don't know if you guys got an invite. Did you guys get an invite?
No.
Okay, I gotta tell the new JV.
I know.
Yeah.
It's because there's a new guy, it's a new assistant. It's not Joseph anymore. Remember, Joseph's gone. So now it's JV, the other Josh. It's Josh's assistant Josh. So I gotta let him know to include everybody. So I'll try to get you guys, but
I'm not getting a leave.
I'll tell you, it is the 26th. It is this Thursday.
Where is this?
It is 16430 Northwest 59th Avenue. It is Resilience Orthopedics.
Say it again.
By Costco,
Like Costco.
16430 Northwest 59th Ave.
That's cosplay.
Yeah, by Costco.
Manny can't get there by golf.
yeah.
He's closing
you
the
don't
event off.
Forget it. That's what you-
Resilience Orthopedics. So yeah, if you guys can make it, it's gonna be at 5:30. That's this Thursday. Yeah, and like I said, I'll get JV to put you to include the EDC on the invites.
This Thursday?
This Thursday, yep. And then, of course, July 4th is Independence Day. July 9th is the next chamber luncheon. We're gonna have an executive panel. And then July 16th is another ribbon cutting. Hopefully JV will get you guys on this one. But just so you know, if you want to put on your calendars, July 16th is Sky Bright Live Scan. I'm not sure honestly what that is, but it's at 5901 Northwest 151st Street. Ribbon, that is Sky Bright Live Scan. And again, 5901 Northwest 151st Street, Wednesday, July 16th, 5:30 p.m.
Oh, 151st is,
That's by the.
it's not Costco, it's down here by where the police station is.
By Dove, the Dove.
Yeah,
54st.
yeah, that's 151st, a traffic light that goes out to. Miami, that's Miami Lakes Drive, but on that side.
All right, cool. And with that, I think we're good. I don't think there's anything left. If anybody wants to make a motion for adjournment.
My motion to adjourn.
20 seconds, Daniel second. All in favor? All right. Be free, go free and multi.